If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to Stars of the Golden Age, a show that highlights the lives of legends from film, music, and the birth of television during Hollywood's golden age and the few years surrounding it. I am your host, Erin Carlson. Today is a very special episode because we are honoring one of the great actresses of old Hollywood who is still with us today. In fact, she just turned 101 years old just a few days ago on July 4th, 2025. The great Eva Marie Saint. One of my main sources for this week's episode was a wonderful 2013 interview of Eva Marie Saint by TCM's Robert Osborne. I love him. From the 2013 TCM Classic Film Festival. And I also watched a couple other interviews with her. So a lot of the information I will be sharing with you today came directly from her own voice. I just love it when I can get my hands on a good filmed interview. It really makes me feel connected to the person I'm covering, and that makes me feel like I can do a better job of telling their story. Eva Marie Saint was born on July 4th, 1924 in Newark, New Jersey, to parents John and Eva Marie Saint. She was the second and final child for the couple, having a sister just a couple years older. Father John had fought and was wounded in the First World War, and the circumstances in which he met his future wife was a stroke of chance. He saw her standing on her front porch as he looked for a post office, and he stopped to ask her directions. She told him, and then he replied, "Thank you. I'm going to marry you someday." And he did. They remained happily married until John's passing. Just think if she wasn't standing on her front porch that day. Eva Marie grew up in New York City with her older sister and her parents. Her mother had been a teacher, but left the profession when Eva Marie's older sister was born, so she could dedicate all of her time and energy to her family. She made all of the clothing for her two daughters, and she was a great seamstress. Eva Marie recalled that they were the best-dressed girls in their whole school. Father John was an executive with the B.F. Goodrich Company. The Saint household was filled with love and learning and enrichment. It was very important to John and Eva, Mother Eva, that their daughters' childhoods be filled with cultural enrichment and a love and appreciation of the arts. It was a really, really happy life. As a child, Eva was filled with vibrant energy that attracted the attention of everyone around her. She was clearly destined for an amazing future. You can see this in her most recent interviews and performances still, that vibrancy. There really isn't a lot more out there I could find about her childhood, and I think that means that it was happy and ordinary, which is really, really nice to hear for once. No abuse, no abandonment, no alcoholism. It was just ordinary and happy. After high school, Eva moved away and attended Bowling Green State University in Ohio, and she began studies to be a teacher. There, she joined the Delta Gamma sorority. Eva's house mother and father were a couple named Eldon and Betty Smith, so she lived with them and their 2 young children, and she loved it. Dr. Eldon Smith worked in the drama department at Bowling Green. During Eva's sophomore year of college, Eldon encouraged Eva to appear in a play that was being put on by the drama club. She had never acted before, but she was ambitious. She did the play, and she was instantly hooked. She suddenly no longer wanted to be a teacher. Eva Marie recalled the moment of self-discovery when she realized she wanted to change the path of her life. When she decided she didn't want to be a teacher, she wanted to act. She was really anxious about this because it was such a huge decision and one that could completely change the course of her life. She nervously went home and told her parents how she felt, that she is thinking about leaving her dreams of teaching behind for the uncertain future of acting. And her father took her by her hand and said to her, "Honey, whatever you want to do, just do your best." Now that is a great way to parent. Eva Marie choked on her words as she told that story to Robert Osborne. 70 years later, and that moment still affected her. It changed her life. It set the trajectory of her life's path while knowing that she had her parents' emotional support along the way. Not only did she have her parents' support and encouragement, but she also had the encouragement of her house father, Eldon. She wrote him back in Ohio seeking his advice for the sudden change of her future dreams. And he replied with a lengthy letter giving his advice and encouragement. Eva Marie kept this letter on her desk throughout her life. It's probably still there today. She chased her dreams of professional acting because of the blessing of these 2 men, her father and Dr. Eldon Smith, the 2 most influential men in her early life, she said. Eva Marie changed majors and finished college, ready to set forth into a life of acting. When she returned to New York City in 1946, Eva Marie Saint landed a spot at Lee Strasberg's prestigious actors studio. Budding actors Paul Newman and Marlon Brando were studying at the actors studio at the same time as Eva Marie. It was there, she said, where she really found her voice as an actress. She gained a purpose for her art and a confidence to carry it out. During those early acting days in New York City, Eva Marie would get up bright and early every single morning and hit the pavement, going from casting office to casting office. She was determined, and she was definitely putting in the hard work. She wanted to make her father and Eldon Smith very proud of her, show them that she could make it. Television was brand new when Eva Marie Saint was breaking into the entertainment world. And television programs were live in those early days. Many shows were like live theater, but broadcast on television. Eva Marie's very first appearance on a television show was clapping off screen on a game show. And the next week, she appeared on screen. She recalled being paid $25 for that appearance, but the dress she wore cost her $30, so she was still $5 in the hole. After that appearance, she was appearing regularly in supporting roles, working her way up to leading roles in no time. She appeared on popular live television shows like Kraft Theater, the Chevrolet Teletheater, the Prudential Family Playhouse, and Suspense. A very busy girl, and she loved doing these live television shows. She kept very, very busy on both television and the live theater. She did almost give up once, though. She was chosen for the lead of a Broadway production called Mr. Roberts, opposite Henry Fonda. The play opened in Philadelphia. Her parents traveled down to see her, and they were so proud. And she was so proud of herself. But when the show was to open on Broadway, the director called her in to say that she was being replaced for the run on Broadway by, actually, Marlon Brando's sister Jocelyn. Eva Marie was told that she was good, but they were expecting the production to be a huge hit on Broadway. And, well, they weren't willing to take a chance on her. So she was demoted to understudy. This was Eva Marie Saint's first professional heartbreak. This crushed her. She stayed strong in front of the director, but she broke down on the train back to her parents' house after being told the news. And while going through this emotional anguish and defeat, she told herself that by the time the train arrived at her station, she would make an important decision. She'll decide whether she can take this kind of emotional turmoil in the acting profession, or if she should return to school and finish her teaching degree. Acting or teaching, she had to decide. When the train arrived at her station, she had made her decision. She was going to be an actress. But she learned that very day how important it was to protect her heart from further heartbreak like what she felt that day. Because she knew she just couldn't endure it too many more times. She knew she had to let her mind handle these types of situations and keep her heart out of it. If she could do that, she would survive. While living as a very busy live television actress, in 1951, 27-year-old Eva Marie met the man who would become the most important person in her life story, her husband. Eva Marie Saint married television director Jeffrey Hayden on October 28, 1951, and they had a long and happy marriage until his death in 2016. 65 years. That is unheard of in Hollywood. In 1953, Eva Marie performed in both a stage and television production of The Trip to Bountiful. A small role, but getting to work alongside silent film star Lillian Gish. And it was in this production that she was discovered for what would be her true breakout role. One very important man was in the audience at the theater one night for the Trip to Bountiful production. Director Elia Kazan. He was one of the founders of the Actors Studio, but I don't think Eva Marie studied directly under him while there. Either way, he was impressed with Eva Marie Saint in The Trip to Bountiful, and he really wanted her for a new film he was casting. Eva Marie Saint's film debut was On the Waterfront in 1954, opposite Mr. Hottie himself, Marlon Brando. And she was an overnight star. This was a difficult role, and it required a lot of depth in the character portrayal. And she delivered. She put her all into delivering this performance. On the Waterfront was a pretty spectacular movie to break out in Hollywood. It won a whopping 8 Academy Awards, including the Best Picture Oscar. And Eva Marie Saint herself won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. Actually, Eva Marie was very, very pregnant with her first child when she accepted her Oscar, which was presented to her by Frank Sinatra. As she accepted the statue from Frank Sinatra, the first thing she said to the audience was, "I'm so excited, I may have a baby right here." And she almost did. Her son, Daryl, was born 2 days later. Their family was completed 3 years later with the arrival of their daughter, Laurette. This is kinda cute. I watched an interview with Eva Marie Saint from 1986 with Dick Cavett, and he said he'd heard a rumor that she keeps her Oscar in a closet. He wondered if that was true. What's that all about? She said, "Well, it's a big closet. It's a glamorous closet." In all seriousness, though, she said she and her husband wanted to give their children as normal of an upbringing as possible. And that meant having no fancy movie awards sitting around the house. Eva Marie wasn't super excited at stepping onto the silver screen from the stage and television work she was used to. She had tried to get into a couple of films prior to Elia Kazan discovering her on the stage, and she said she wasn't a huge fan of the process. Here's what she said about it. Quote, "During the few rounds I had made, they would ask me how much I weighed, my height, and my bust size. And I thought, this is silly. This is not for me. I want to stay in the theater." End quote. But fate had other plans for her. Back to On the Waterfront. Both coming from the Actors Studio, Eva Marie and Marlon Brando were constantly rehearsing their parts during the production of On the Waterfront. And this is where the famous glove scene was born, during a private rehearsal during some downtime. If you've seen the movie, you know the scene I'm talking about. Marlon Brando and Eva Marie Saint's characters couldn't be more different, and this scene occurs as their complex relationship is building. Miss Saint recalled it like this, quote, "We were rehearsing the scene, which was a difficult one. Why would I stay there and talk to this guy? I was a Catholic girl. I didn't know about the opposite sex. And when we were doing the scene, I dropped my glove by mistake. He did not pick it up and give it back to me. He put it on his own hand in a very sensuous way. Kazan saw that in our rehearsal and said, 'Let's do that.' So in the scene, I drop the glove and Marlon picks it up. I like to tell this story because it shows what a brilliant actor he is." End quote. Eva Marie continued to do television work after On the Waterfront, and then her next movie was a complete 180 from this Oscar-winning film. It was a comedy with Bob Hope titled That Certain Feeling. This move really surprised a lot of people because nobody was expecting her to do a movie like that. But doing a comedy and showcasing some singing and dancing really showed the depth and range of the talent that she had to offer. Eva Marie recalled in her interview with Robert Osborne that Bob Hope had in his contract that he could take naps at any time and that there would be no close-ups of him after 5 o'clock. She adored Bob Hope and said he was so much fun to work with, which I don't doubt for a second. The following year, 1957, Eva Marie appeared in the Civil War drama Raintree County with Montgomery Clift and Elizabeth Taylor. This is the movie that was in production when Montgomery Clift was involved in the horrible car accident that almost killed him and left him with a forever altered appearance. Filming was obviously delayed for a very, very long time after the accident. And then came North by Northwest. I love this movie. 1959's North by Northwest is an Alfred Hitchcock film, and Eva Marie Saint plays opposite the ultra-lovable Cary Grant. Eva Marie recalled the adjustment it took to get used to working under Alfred Hitchcock because he was so unique and individual in his directing style. He was very well known for having very detailed, drawn sketches of how he wanted each scene played out, down to the very last detail. He would show these to the actors and have them bring the sketches to life. Where directors like Elia Kazan had been very emotionally driven, Hitchcock was more focused on the aesthetics. He trusted his actors to bring the proper emotions to the scenes. Being focused so much on the visual aspect of his films, Alfred Hitchcock wanted Eva Marie Saint's wardrobe to be perfect for North by Northwest. So he brought her to Bergdorf Goodman on a personal shopping trip. Models showcased dozens of dresses, and Hitchcock told her to pick out whatever she found appealing to her for the film. There are now a lot of stories that have surfaced about the way Alfred Hitchcock treated his Hitchcock blondes, that he was often very inappropriate. But here is what Eva Marie Saint had to say about her experience working with Hitchcock. Quote, "I had the best relationship with him. I thought of him as a teddy bear. He was very protective. You felt on the set that he had such respect for his actors. You had a great deal of support from him. He was a very elegant, classy man, besides being an incredible director." End quote. There aren't too many movies that I see and I feel like I want to watch again. I'm just not a big movie person. But North by Northwest is one of them. As soon as I finished watching it the first time, I instantly wanted to watch it again. Cary Grant could have a little bit to do with that. He is just so enjoyable to watch. Eva Marie Saint had some things to say about Cary Grant during her interview with Robert Osborne. She said he was incredibly sweet and giving and kind, a true gem to work alongside. When Robert Osborne asked her about the shift in playing this type of role, a femme fatale type role, Eva Marie, who was 88 years old at the time of this interview, said, "The sexy spy lady. I didn't have very much experience." "You played it very well," Osborne replied. "Well, I was sexy," she said, "but I wasn't a spy lady. As a matter of fact, I'm still sexy." I just love that. She is indeed incredibly beautiful in this interview at 88 years old. You would never ever guess that to be her age. I just love her down-to-earth confidence. Being raised in a loving family where the family unit was top priority, Eva Marie lived the same way when she became a mother. Her family came first, period. Once, when her children were still pretty young, she had just finished shooting Exodus in Europe, which took her there for 3 months. And just a few months later, her agent called her for another film, also shot in Europe. She said she just couldn't do it. She couldn't rock her family's routine and be away from them for so long, so soon again. Her agent said to her, "Eva Marie, you're never going to be a superstar." And she said, "I don't think I want to be a superstar." And then she let him go as her agent. Her husband and her children were her number one priority. She did take her family along to her film locations as much as possible. She made sure this was in her contract. But she also wanted her kids to have a good home routine. Family came first. Eva Marie Saint continued to work steadily in motion pictures throughout the 1960s as a very well-received actress. By the 1970s, the major roles weren't coming in as they used to, so she happily made the shift back to television, but still did some film roles as they came along, co-starring in some of her later films with Tom Hanks, Kim Basinger, Martin Sheen, and Jessica Lange. Her most recent film credit was as a nun in Marriott in Ecstasy in 2019, at the age of 95 years old. This is a woman who is obviously passionate about her work as an actress. You can't stop her. Eva Marie Saint has won an Academy Award and an Emmy Award and has been nominated for numerous other prestigious acting awards. She has a highly accomplished career as an actress. I am so thrilled to not have to say those final dreaded words this week. You know, the ones where I have to tell you when and how one of our beloved stars died. Well, I don't have to do that for Miss Saint. But I can say, happy birthday. 101 years old. Wow. Your vibrancy and respect for your mind and body are a true inspiration to us all. Now, as a little extra birthday treat, I reached out to ask people what their favorite Eva Marie Saint movie or television role was and why. So I'm going to share some of those responses with you now. These responses are from the Classic Film subreddit on Reddit. I asked and they delivered. User 2020 Surreal World said, "My favorite film is a rarely seen black and white TV movie, The Trip to Bountiful from 1953. Eva was just beginning her film career, and her co-stars are the great silent film star Lillian Gish and Jo Van Fleet, who later won an Oscar for playing James Dean's mother in East of Eden." Also, in reference to the photo I shared with my post on Reddit, which was a publicity photo from North by Northwest and also one of the cover photos for this episode, this Reddit user said, "I love the happy, confident expression on her face in this picture. Here is a woman clearly enjoying her life and career. Keys to her longevity." User Chris Cinema said, "North by Northwest. I loved her take on the icy cold Hitchcock blonde role, and she made it her own. Eve Kendall is a very smart, brave character in a life-or-death situation and one of Hitchcock's strongest female roles. She falls in love with Roger O. Thornhill, though not right away. Remember, she sends Robert to Indiana to presumably be killed by a crop duster." I love that scene. "Presumably at the direction of Philip Van Damme. She's a woman of divided loyalty who knows how to manipulate her sexuality to maintain her cover and not jeopardize the mission to uncover Philip Van Damme's scheme. She also really played into the sexual innuendo in the famous dining car seduction scene. It's a shame but understandable that she had to redub the line, 'I never make love on an empty stomach.'" User Crowded Cedar said, "On the Waterfront must be mentioned. It's one of my favorites. She plays the token woman in a film dominated by men. North by Northwest is her most sultry role as a seductress. It may be the earliest film that explicitly mentions having sex." User Prestigious Emu 6039 said, "I like Saint in North by Northwest and On the Waterfront. In other films, not so much, but more to do with the film itself and not her. She had a nice, natural style, and her performances are nuanced." Calligrapher Sad 7604 said, "A Hatful of Rain, a great movie that deals with addiction in a very progressive way for its time. Also, I haven't seen it, but she did the part of the younger lover in Round Midnight that Kim Novak did in the movie, which seems like very interesting casting." Scully 1961 said, "North by Northwest, very good electricity between her and Carrie." User Strong Style Fiction said, "North by Northwest by far, as it is one of my favorite movies, period. I also liked her in On the Waterfront." Grey Dusty 2 said, "While I wish I could say North by Northwest or On the Waterfront are the films that I've seen the most, but truthfully, it's Cancel My Reservation. Felt like that movie was on broadcast TV monthly." Mean Television said, "On the Waterfront. Marlon Brando improvised the bit about trying on her glove. There was a certain symbolism to that gesture that the audience felt. I also thought she was very good in Nothing in Common as Tom Hanks' mother and Jackie Gleason's ex-wife." Thank you so much, dear Redditors, for sharing your thoughts with me. And now I would like to share just a few more interesting things I learned during my research. Bullet point number 1. Eva Marie Saint's nickname in high school, according to her high school yearbook, was Bubbles. Bullet point number 2. Director Elia Kazan had the role of Edie in On the Waterfront narrowed down to 2 actresses, Eva Marie Saint, and the other actress was Elizabeth Montgomery. Bullet point number 3. Eva Marie Saint only saw Marlon Brando one time after they filmed On the Waterfront together. Years later, she said, Elizabeth Taylor was having a birthday party and he came into the room. I was so excited to see him. He came up, we hugged, and then he saw a pretty young brunette over my shoulder. He said goodbye, and that was the last time I ever saw him. In conclusion, Eva Marie Saint is an absolutely remarkable woman. She helped to bring a new kind of woman to the screen in mid-century America. She brought a new complexity to women through the depth of her roles. In a time of great female stereotypes, she helped pave the way out of these stereotypes. I loved watching the interviews with her so much. She is humble but confident, strong yet gentle, and oh so beautiful, and such grace. There is just a real genuine energy that I took away from watching her speak. Eva Marie Saint turned 101 years old last week. At 88 years old in 2013, she stressed the importance of walking for health and vitality. And I'm telling you, she didn't look a day over 68. And more importantly, she was sharp. She was beautiful, healthy, and sharp. So let's listen to Eva Marie Saint's advice for healthy living. She said to walk an hour every day. I know that's a lot in our busy lives today, but walking, she said, is the key to vitality. It doesn't hurt, right? So if you are able, take a nice therapeutic walk outdoors this week in honor of the great Eva Marie Saint. Eva Marie Saint once said, "The longer you live, the smarter you get. Because you've been around, you've been with people, you've seen things, you've gone through different emotional experiences in your own life. And hopefully, as an actress, that makes you a better actress." She's lived through a lot in this life. She's been in iconic classic films and worked with countless movie legends. And she's still here to talk about it. Very admirable and impressive. Thank you, Eva Marie Saint, for showing us that it is okay to change the path of our life if that's what our gut is telling us to do. It's okay to follow our heart down a different road. Yes, it is scary, and yes, it is risky. But you showed us that if you can muster up the courage to do so, it can lead to wonderful things. Most of all, though, thank you for reminding us how very important it is for us to prioritize our physical and mental health. Our bodies are precious. We often forget just how precious. We need to make time to nurture our bodies and minds. And if we can do that, maybe, just maybe, we will be fortunate enough to be blessed with a long, healthy life just like you. 101 years. That's amazing. Happy birthday, Miss Eva Marie Saint. And thank you all for listening. For this episode, I used a book titled Eva Marie Saint, a Biography by Jane Bryan, an interview from the 2013 TCM Film Festival with Robert Osborne, an interview from the Santa Barbara Independent from January 1st, 2010, a 1986 interview with Dick Cavett, Wikipedia, and IMDB.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.